Hi, my name is Tak, and welcome back to Film Chat. Today I am joined by Lewis once again. Today we're going to talk about slapstick filmmakers and how it's not just Charlie Chaplin. We're going to be talking mostly about like older slapstick filmmakers, and that's kind of where the peak of the genre is. There are still some that you can classify as kind of like slapstick today, but we're going to be talking about the older ones,
Yeah.
like Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and we're going to get into all of those guys. But first, a little bit about what like slapstick comedy is. It's just kind of like it's like in a word.
Well,
Yeah, go for it.
have the definition.
Go for it.
It's comedy based on deliberately clumsy actions and humorously embarrassing events. And the name slapstick comes from like a little prop that clowns would use to make like loud slapping noises. They'd have like wood, and then they would just like it's like flexible pieces of wood. They like tape them together, and then they would slap them. They would make like a loud sound. So that's where slapstick comes from like clowns and sideshows and stuff.
Humor was so simple back then. It's just like they just have like a stick taped together, and it just makes a noise, and it's
And,
funny. So
right. And then what do they call it? Slapstick.
a slapstick. So I think it's worth defining what kind of slapstick comedy is, and we're gonna start with Charlie Chaplin, just because if you're anyone who's interested in film at all, you'll probably have heard of the name Charlie Chaplin, and if you haven't seen his work, you should, because it's for me anyway. That kind of humor it still holds up, because in a word, the
Yeah,
style is
it's a
very
classic.
in a word the style is very cartoony, and I like cartoons. I guess that's what that says about me,
Right.
right?
Chi- Child.
I'm a
Yeah.
child, exactly.
You're saying that like Chaplin is kind of like better than current comedies? I
Hmm.
remember when my brother was like, he must have been like 5 or 6 years old. He loved watching Charlie Chaplin movies because he didn't know his name. He just called him the funny man. But um, because it was so sped up and because it's so like slapstick and like goofy, I thought it was like hilarious.
Hmm.
Um, like that scene with the guy. I have seen this movie by the way. I remember now when I see the guy punching the wall and punching
Mm.
the street light and stuff. I
Hmm.
remember when he saw that he was like blown away because he was like, because obviously he didn't realize that it was like
Yeah.
fake. He was like 5 years old,
Yeah.
so he was like, oh my god, he broke the wall. Oh my god, he broke like the metal, the light.
Aw.
And I was like, this is like a 5, 6 year old could like watch this and enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like comedies that are really like wordy or like clever, it's not as universal.
No, it's not. Certainly, people who don't
It's
speak
like Mr.
English.
Bean. Mr.
Certainly,
Bean is
yeah. Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean also like I did want to
Mr.
mention
Bean
him.
reminds me a lot of Chaplin. It's very similar to Chaplin in a lot of
Yeah, you think
ways.
so? Yeah, I agree. Charlie
Yeah,
Chaplin.
I mean he doesn't speak.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean he was in a time where he had sound, but he chose not to speak. Like that was his character. Mr. Bean barely said anything ever.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Hmm. Like Rowan
Just a little
Atkinson.
updated.
Rowan Atkinson. I'm of the opinion that his face is his most important like asset. His face like communicates so much, such a wide range of emotions that like it's not just like a wide range of
Mm.
emotions, but it's to the point where it's like exaggerated. It's not like there's something about his face that's just like so cartoony, and that's not even
I
like,
know, right?
but it's great. It's not like a bad thing. I'm not like making fun of him, but that's just like a great thing. It's
No,
just
no, no. It's not.
excellent.
It's a very funny thing.
Yeah,
I love Mr. Bean because like it's like that kind of version, but like a little bit more like updated.
yeah, a little more
It's a little
modern.
bit more relatable.
Yeah.
There's another famous clip from the same. I don't know if it was a show or
Mm.
the same thing of the car,
Mm-hmm.
where he's a little bit younger, where he's taking some sort of test, um, and he's like definitely cheating off the guy like right next to him. And he's doing
Yes.
like everything possible to like this the guy so he could look at his paper.
When he looks at the test and then like he like opens his eye, like he covers his eye and then like opens it, and then like his eye is just so big,
Yeah.
and then he just shuts it. He's like, no, oh my god. You understand everything you need to know about this scene from just that, and
Right.
but he's able to do it with so much humor, and it's just it's so great.
Uh,
Um,
Somebody else that whose movies I generally enjoy, but not so much as comedy movies, because I kind of find them like kind of obnoxious, to be honest.
yeah,
I don't like comedy that's too like in your face, over the top, like annoying. I don't like it that much. But anyway, Jim Carrey, his face is like super
Jim Carrey,
flexible, shows a lot of emotion. Like he can make so
definitely,
many different faces, you know?
definitely,
That is
definitely.
just like you're like a funny guy, like because you make funny faces. You're just like funny.
Hmm. Chaplin's most famous like movies was him in The Great Dictator, where he
Yes, I was gonna
he
talk about that.
plays oh okay, and so
Yeah,
he plays like two characters,
Aldenoy the King or whatever his name is.
something like that. Yeah,
It's Hitler.
he's
Yeah,
Hitler. Yeah, he's
pretty
supposed to be.
obviously.
In the at the end of that movie though,
He even
he gives like a speech where he's like where he
I
like
have that speech up like in my tabs already.
isn't it great though? Isn't the speech actually great?
It is really great speech. Yeah, I like how he kind of gets intense at the end. He
Hmm.
starts kind of like shouting.
Yeah.
I like the
Um.
movie because that movie's kind of like really dark. Like they find like the family and they like beat them, and it's like Jesus Christ, this is a Chaplin movie.
Yeah. Right. I remember that.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
intense.
It is.
But then there's some parts that are like this is so ridiculous. Like the part where they start like where the part where like the actual Hinkler gets. I'm pretty sure the guy's name is Napolini, like the Mussolini
Like
type is named
Mussolini. Yeah.
Napolini,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they're like drawing the lines on the map. They're drawing the lines on the map of all the new territory they've acquired, and they get mad and they start throwing like food at
Food
each
at
other,
each
like
other.
they
I
start a
remember
food
that.
fight. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Is this the same movie? Is this the same movie where they're just like beating Jews like 30 seconds ago? This is the same movie, right?
This is the same movie. I really like that. I really like the bit that I told you about, where it's like the action in the movie is timed with like the music, and like that really
Mm.
works for me. I don't know about you, but like that's like really funny to me.
It is because it's like how do I explain it? It's like emphasizing more. Like it's more. It's just I feel like Chaplin emphasizes a lot. Like emphasizes his movements, emphasizes his facial features. The music emphasizes everything. Like it's like an extra emphasis on everything.
Hmm. I also one last thing, and I think after like I talk about this, we should go into the other filmmakers with Charlie
Okay.
Chaplin. Like everyone in the movies in his movies are like impeccable actors for some reason.
Mm.
I don't think I'm using that word properly. Really good actors. Even the kid who like he like adopts, which I really appreciate. I think.
Well, do you think it's easier to act if you don't have to speak?
Look at that guy's look at the kid's face though.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking, well, maybe it's easier to act if you don't have to speak because then your delivery won't be like wooden, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like the number one sign of bad acting. It's like, oh, I don't like sand. You know, it's like so boring. But seeing that, no, I stand corrected. That's pretty good acting
Yeah.
after all the kid crying and everything. Silent film needs
Impeccable.
to come back, honestly. Like, I'd watch a silent film that was made like now.
I would too. I would too.
Even out of like curiosity, you know? I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I wonder what this is like. Don't you think that like people nowadays, if you didn't tell them it was a silent movie,
Yeah.
wouldn't they question it? Wouldn't they be like,
I would
where's
also
the like,
I would also think so
where's
as
the
well.
talking,
Yeah.
right?
Really
Even though
makes you
on
smile.
maybe the second time rewatch it, they'll be like, "Oh no, it's good." Like I just maybe they would leave the theater saying, "I understood like what was happening. I just was wondering if they were gonna speak because I wasn't, I didn't know it was gonna be silent."
Mm. Mhm. Okay. I think I think after like halfway through though, you would have accepted at that point that it's like, oh, okay, there's no sound,
Yeah,
because it's
I
like,
mean, there's music and whatever, but
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Maybe not halfway through, but maybe like 10 minutes in, you're like, "Oh, so nobody's gonna speak."
yeah. So who was your filmmaker?
I
Miller,
was gonna
was it?
do well. I mean, I already know he's a filmmaker, but it's like the main character. It's
Yeah.
it's it's he did have a hand in writing and creating
Max
the
Linder.
characters and stuff, but it's Max Linder. I'm looking here. It says that he has also been cited as the first international movie star and the first film star anywhere.
Oh
Pretty good.
wow, pretty high praise.
Uh-huh. By
Yeah.
1911, which is like 100 years ago.
Hmm.
No, 110 years ago. He was co-directing his own films as well as writing the scripts. It's like I said before, it reminds me of Chaplin, but it's like the beta version. Like in the it's very similar in the, I guess, style, form of humor. It's pretty slapstick, pretty wacky kind of.
Mm.
But it's definitely not as exaggerated. It's definitely not as creative.
I agree that like it is what it was
Yeah.
like it is very similar in terms of like
Yeah.
feel and stuff like that.
Yeah. Something that I wasn't expecting
Hmm.
was when the cat, I assume you're gonna put clips, when the cat
Hmm.
knocked the flower pot onto his head and broke his hat for
Hmm.
like a second or third time. The cat also jumps on him.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, it's probably not a real cat, honestly.
Hopefully.
It's definitely not a real cat. I wasn't expecting the cat to go like, "Whoop," like also jump. I was like, whoa, the cat too.
There's I feel like this is one of those films that like don't require all the title cards. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
it really doesn't.
I don't know what it says, of course, but like
So it says he's gonna meet his fiance at her house so he can meet his in-laws,
mm,
his her mother, her father.
yeah.
So he's gonna buy himself a new hat because he wants to look presentable, for the in-laws.
Hmm.
Um, but obviously his hat keeps getting messed up.
Hmm.
But anyway, he gets to the house and I thought it was pretty funny actually. He puts the hat down because he's like, I'm gonna put the hat on the floor. That's what the title card said. He's like, I'm gonna put the hat on the floor because then I know that it can't fall.
Mm.
And then the dog comes in and pees in the
Peas
hat.
on it. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, give me your hat, sir, and your jacket. We'll put it away." And he's like holding his hat. He's like, "No, no, no, don't take my hat. No, no, it's okay. You don't need to take my hat. No, no, it's
Yeah.
fine, it's fine." And then like the father puts it on his head, and the pee falls all over his head. And then he's like, "Oh!" And they like chase him out of the house.
That
Wackiness
bit is
ensues.
very slapstick.
So
That like
that
sort of
bit
like
definitely.
that all of that like that whole like song and dance definitely very slapstick.
And is it just me,
Mm.
or is that like part like sped up a little? Like as soon as the dad puts the hat on, let me
There
take a look
seems
at
to
it
be a
again.
little bit of a jump cut.
Oh, it looks like it's sped up a little bit, and you can see the cut too. So
Yeah.
when the guy has the hat in his hand,
Hmm.
cuts, then he puts it on. Oh, and then all of a sudden it's sped up.
Maybe. Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It might be. I did notice
Yeah,
that actually. Yeah. I
it
think the
looks
jump
sped up
cut
to me,
was
at
like
least a little.
it didn't have dog pee in it. It didn't actually have dog pee in it, and then they went ahead and put
Right,
water
of
in it
course.
just before the take, and then he put it on and he got like dunked on.
Right,
That might be that
right.
must
But
be
I
what
also
it
think the
is.
jump cut might have been. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I know how this works, but
Mm.
maybe they couldn't get specific parts and speed them up. Maybe they had to speed up all of the film. So maybe they just cut, put water in the hat or whatever,
Hmm.
and then started a new,
A
and
new
then
roll of
that they
film.
could speed
Yeah.
up because there was like a new.
It's
It's a new film
specifically
now.
it's
Yeah, it was like.
specifically for like faster frames per second. I know what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Maybe.
Right, right.
I don't totally know how it works either.
Because I mean, they could have accomplished more than one thing with the hat thing. I don't totally know
Hmm.
how it works either.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, no one invents anything really. Everything is always built up what other people did before you. Everybody knows that, but like this really does seem like a beta version of Chaplin. This seems like something that they're like, oh, let's see if physical comedy in this way is like popular, and it ended up being really popular. I mean, the guy was known as like the first film star anywhere,
Mm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, before film was really a very common thing. So I guess Chaplin was like seeing all these like greats, let's say, from the past, and he was like, I could do this, but like I could make it even a little bit more exciting, a little bit more cartoony, and a little bit more wacky.
So let me see my guy, Larry Simon. 1920s is when this came out. So right around the time of Charlie Chaplin.
This to me is not so much funny as it is like freaky, because like these are like stuntmen, bro.
These are definitely more like stunts as opposed to like it's more like especially that one where they like cut across the train tracks and like that's like really like
Right.
and then the freaking house.
The house. What was the budget for this? Like at the
I
time?
don't
My
know.
goodness.
Boom.
He's like, stop, stop, stop. Shh.
This whole thing looks sped up, yeah.
Yeah, it's sped up.
Certainly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially the guy jumping.
Hmm.
Because, dude, uh, that train, that train can't be moving very fast, can it?
The cinematography is very, very simple. It's simple. I shouldn't say simple. It's very deliberate and like it's very deliberate. Like the cinematography is very
Right.
specific so as to show like everything that you need to know and also be very efficient with it. It's
I have a
just
I have a
it's
term for
uncomplicated
this
in
that
a
I
way.
just invented right now.
Yeah, what is it?
It's the term I've just invented is it's unambiguous photography. It's not like no shaky cam. It's not like no weird angles. It's
That bit
just
right there.
it's showing you exactly what is happening because what is happening is already crazy enough. You don't need to see any like weird movements or
Unambiguous photography. I like that. It's all meant to show the action and or the joke as well as possible, which I appreciate.
right. It's almost like you're just looking at it. It's almost like you're there just looking at it.
Yeah.
So the photography itself is not stylized
Mm-hmm.
because
Precisely.
it's already pretty freaky what's happening in the actual thing anyway. So
Precisely. It's also like the longer takes that I appreciate too. Like a lot of Chaplin stuff. Longer takes. Longer takes. More acting. I've said before, like in our like in our short film in high school, I'm always like oh this is just a lot of downtime and like to cut that out and stuff like that.
mhm.
I don't have that opinion about these things about like the this type of film because it's like I don't know why.
If you have longer takes, you need better acting, which Chaplin has a lot of.
Yeah.
I had the Keystone Cops, bro,
Keystone Cops. Let's see it. Let's talk
who
about the Keystone Cops.
are Keystone Cops. They're called Keystone Cops because they're from the Keystone, like the studio was called Keystone.
Mm.
And these are from about the same time as Max Linder because it says here 1912 to 1917. And it's just a bunch of like fat cops that are like really like bad at their job. They're always like stumbling over each other and falling down.
Mm.
And their guns go off at random times. Like their guns just randomly go off. A girl calls the police station because somebody's trying to like rob them,
Mm-hmm.
and then the guy is like sleeping in the police station. He has like a bed. He's like in his pajamas. He's like sleeping in the job literally. Answers the phone. And his like alarm to alert the other cops is he takes out his gun. He just goes. He just like shoots the ceiling, and all the other cops are like, oh, we got a call. There's this one part. For some reason, I don't know why, but I found it like really funny. The cop comes out of like the little police
Mm-hmm.
station, and he's like going to alert the other cop. And he just like falls down like on his face.
He
The way he
fell.
falls is
He
funny too.
ate it properly.
He just falls on his face. Like, and I was like, oh my god, he ate it.
He ate it. He actually just ate it. I also like how it's called Bangville Police.
I know. Yeah, that's the. This is like the very. This is the first one that made them like famous. Let's say. Did you know that? I didn't know this. The Keystone Cops became kind of a way to describe anyone incompetent, bungling, or like
Oh,
uncoordinated.
okay.
You just kind of call them the Keystone Cops. Like I never understood. There's like a famous play, like football, NFL,
Mm.
where the guy has the ball, he's running, he runs into his own teammate's butt. Like he hits his face in his teammate's butt. It's like, psh. He falls, he loses the ball, and it's like an infamous play. It went down in history as the butt fumble, right? And the commentator says, "Oh my God, it's like the Keystone Cops out here." And I was like, "Oh, who are the Keystone Cops?" Okay.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, Keystone Cops."
I went ahead and googled it. Butt fumble. Yeah, he just
Butt
runs
fumble.
into his teammate. He just runs into his teammate, dude.
Yeah, he just runs into
Dude,
his
the
teammate's back.
Jets, come
And then he
on.
loses, and then on top of it,
What?
he loses the ball, and the other team picks it up.
How you gonna run through there, man? There's like no space in there. What? You had so much. What? What happened?
And then I like how it's a touchdown. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even just a turnover. Like, it's a touchdown for the other team.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's like, what a thank you.
I was gonna mention Buster Keaton and then also Harold Lloyd.
They used a 10-floor international savings building. Wide shots featured a stuntman who actually climbed the face of the building. For tight shots on Lloyd, they built smaller sets that replicated the brick of the building, then used clever camera angles to make it appear that he was much higher than he actually was. Oh, okay, there's an image right here. Oh, okay. Okay, this makes a lot more sense. There's literally a mattress. Look at this image. It's really cool. Because I was thinking, I was like, he's not holding up his own weight on that rope. Yeah, it's not because he's standing.
Look at that. So they built a
Yeah.
whole other
They like built.
scaffolding. They use scaffolding.
built-
That's probably like that's like a great way to go about doing that. Also, it's just like to build the scene as opposed to like actually climb a building. Which like in my head I'm like they probably
Right.
didn't do that, but also like how else would they have done it? And I'm just like yeah. Watch this clip. Isn't that like
I don't think that's a real.
I looking at it, I don't think the woman was real, but I think the guy was.
Yeah, I don't think that's a real woman. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I said that. I don't think that's a real woman.
But still, like,
Right,
look,
of
oh
course.
my god, look at his back. Oh my god. In the clip, in the very next clip, you see the exact thing that like people have done. Like, yeah, watch the next clip.
Okay, here's the thing. They have to have some sort of marking on the floor, right?
You know, I don't know.
Like they have to put an X on the floor so he knows where to step, right?
I think, yeah, I think so. Definitely. I think there definitely has to be some sort of like marking or whatever.
Because I'm sure that they've put the building down before, and then sort of maybe they've outlined the window, but they would have to adjust it a little bit because the guy. I mean, I don't know how tall he is, but let's say he's like 5'8", 5 or whatever, just for example.
Yeah.
Even if you're standing in that spot, if you're not standing in the right spot, it'll hit like the back of your head or something.
Just
You gotta do
like
some math.
a lot of
Actually,
math. I was about to
They
say.
just want to
Yeah.
be like, yeah, let's just. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'll just eyeball it. Like, no.
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 I don't know. Those people are crazy. They might have eyeballed it.
Those people are crazy. They might have
No,
eyeballed it.
probably didn't.
Isn't that that's like that's like the
No.
impression that I get, right? That I'm like, oh, this old type of stuff. Like, do they have mats back then? Did they have like stunt doubles? Do they know what that is? It's like no, they had stunt doubles. They had mattresses. I guess they had mattresses and like, so they had pads.
Well, they didn't have
They had-
mats. They had
No.
like literal mattresses.
Yeah,
like
mattresses.
in the picture I showed you, like on bed.
Which is like
yeah.
the next best thing. Also, all these filmmakers,
I would die.
some of them are more popular than others. Charlie Chaplin probably being the most popular. Everyone else down the line,
Yeah.
probably less popular. I don't think. I think Buster Keaton is also pretty popular. I don't think people know Harold Lloyd very well.
Yeah, I think the name Buster Keaton. I think a lot of people know the name Buster Keaton. I think I think not many people know Harold Lloyd, but if you
Yeah,
tell them,
definitely.
oh, you know, like the one where the guy's hanging off the clock, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know that.
Oh, that one. Jackie Chan, right? No, before. The guy who did it before Jackie. So at any rate,
Who?
if any of these guys interested you, certainly check them out. Even if like slapstick comedy and slapstick movies aren't really your thing, certainly do watch it. Certainly do watch some of the clips on YouTube because I mean, if you're anyone like me, like, and by that I mean like a child, you'll probably love these. They're so much fun. And if you don't know any of these guys, well, get on it.
Is it's kind of funny how we kind of focus on different things.
Mm.
Like I focused on like early stuff, like before Chaplin. I was like, this is what Chaplin was influenced by. You know, Chaplin is like the elevated version of this, and
Mm-hmm.
you kind of focused on like more like his contemporaries, but more like epic stunts and like dangerous stuff,
Mm.
which is cool. It's really
Yeah.
cool to look at, but it's kind of like we focus on different like eras almost.
Certainly, like this kind of thing doesn't happen anymore, where like people do it for real and like don't cut in between the action and ruin the whole take. It's just it's you see the whole thing in front of you, especially those stunts. There's no cutting involved. In a world nowadays where filmmakers all they do is cut, it's honestly refreshing for me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
refreshing. The
it's
unambiguous photography, which
the
is a phrase that
unambiguous
I coined,
photography.
is very
He
refreshing.
has coined this term. This kind of style you also see in like a lot of old Hong Kong movies because in a
Mm.
lot of old Hong Kong movies there's a lot of fighting. Those people know how to do stunts. They know how to fight. They know how to fall without hurting themselves too much. And so it's like there's no need to cut in those moments. And in fact, if you do cut at those moments, like a lot of like uh, a lot of films today where like people get hurt and like they like fall back and then like they land on the ground. A lot of filmmakers will like cut before the stunt people have hit the ground, and so you just see their reaction, but like you don't see them hit the ground and stuff. And so just kind of like, well, we hurt ourselves for you, and like you're not gonna show like the whole thing. It's just like it's kind of disrespectful, and it's also kind of like it's kind of lame. But then like Hong Kong movies, old
Yeah,
Hong Kong movies, they'll do that. They'll show the whole thing, the whole fall, the whole stunt, uncut, and it's certainly like it's better. It's just better. That's all it is. It's just better. That's all I'm saying.
I would sacrifice a little bit of like epicness to have stunts be a little bit more realistic, but done in this style, done in one take where it's a real stunt. It's actually done. I would sacrifice a little bit of like Hollywood in a
I
sense,
see
if you
what
know
you
what I
mean.
mean,
I
in
see
order
what
to
you
have it
mean.
be a little more realistic.
I think I see what you mean. Nowadays, like cutting is like so much easier because you just hit stop record and then you move the camera and then you hit record again. It's like we learned how to do that now, and then we went crazy with it, and then that's all we do. I want to see someone. I want people to get hurt, but it's like
God for blood.
exactly like because cutting's lame. It's just like you don't. It doesn't feel as visceral, I guess.
You know the meme video of Nicolas Cage driving, then he
No,
crashes?
no, I don't.
Yes, this is your point, okay? This is what's going through my mind as you're saying that.
Oh
Like
my
cut
god!
and like
What is
it
this?
was cutting and like it's a meme video. It's like they
Oh,
clipped it to
okay.
make it funnier, but low key this could be like in a movie.
That could
Like I wouldn't
totally
be
have been a
surprised.
movie. That could have totally been a movie, and I would have just like, yeah, no.
Right. If I didn't tell you that was edited, you'd be like, "Wow, that's like really weird editing," but you wouldn't think it was like fake, right? And I think it'd be cool to watch sort of like wider shot, one take of Nicolas Cage or whatever stuntman is in the car driving, doing some cool tricks, and then crashing. That would be more cool to me
Hmm.
than like.
If the whole point is
You know,
carnage, then don't cut so much. Like away
show the
from the
full
car.
extent, right?
Show go wide. I want to see the
Yeah.
car get freaking mangled. I don't care about the guy's face.
Yeah.
I don't
Honestly,
know.
like GTA driving.
GTA driving, but on the wide, dude. Let me see,
Right.
like,
See it.
let me see all the fireworks that you got.